Inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom, free expression, and free enterprise. Every entrepreneur should stand up and be counted. There is no more standing on the sidelines. Stand up and say, I want freedom, believe in freedom, and I will not stay silent.
Welcome to the Thought Leader Revolution with Nicky. Join the revolution. There's never been a better time in history to speak your truth, find your freedom, and make your fortune. Each week, we interview the world's top thought leaders and learn the secrets of how they built a 6 to 7 figure practice. This episode has been brought to you by eCircleacademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I'm your host, Nicky. And boy, do we have an exciting episode lined up for you today. Today's episode is another exciting Thought Leader Nugget. Thought Leader Nuggets, number 113. This is a very special and important episode for me because I'm going to talk about why you can't stay on the sidelines anymore. So let me tell you a little bit about my backstory because I don't know that I ever have on this show. I'm actually originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. And when I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall and that this wasn't going to be a great place for him to raise his Christian family anymore. And so he made a plan and he got us out of Iran eventually, and he settled us where we now live in Toronto, Canada. At the time, I didn't want to leave Iran. I mean, that was my home. All my friends were there. But looking back, my father changed the trajectory of my family's legacy. He took us from a land of tyranny and he brought us to a land of freedom. And as a result of that, I believe in freedom. I believe in free expression. And I believe in free enterprise. And freedom is the basis for all of it. Without freedom, we can't have free expression. We can't have free enterprise. And right now in the West, there are dark forces that are attempting to snuff out our freedoms. In the United States of America, this week, the President of the United States has taken his leading opponent in the upcoming election and arrested him on some crazy charges about stuff that every past president has done and nobody's ever gone after them. Now, I don't care if you like Donald Trump or you hate Donald Trump. If you believe in freedom, it should scare the heck out of you that the leader of the United States has decided to jail his leading opponent. We cannot have this. We cannot allow this in a free society. This should not happen. In fact, anybody running for president in the future should pledge that they will never, ever go after and jail their political opponents, because that makes us no better than a tin pot dictatorship. And right now, the president of the United States currently is acting like a tin pot dictator. In the past, people used to say, hey, business is not a place for you to talk about politics, religion, or sex. And I used to agree with all that, and I still agree with it when it comes to sex, okay? But you can't today not talk about politics, your philosophy. You can't not talk about your faith and your belief. Now, you don't want to try to push it on anybody else, but you've got to talk about it. You've got to stand up in favor of freedom. You cannot allow the current leader of the United States to jail his primary political opponent. You cannot allow the culture to degrade to the point where certain things that people in power don't agree with are labeled as quote unquote misinformation. They say we can't have that. No, free speech means we can have all information and then we all get to decide. There's no shutting down speech in the name of quote unquote misinformation. That's wrong. That's antithetical to freedom. Inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. We all want to be free. And without standing up for freedom, we can't have freedom. If you're a business owner and in the past you didn't want to get involved in all this stuff, I understand. But today you've got to stand up and you've got to take sides. And I hope that you choose the side of freedom. I hope that you choose the side of free expression. I hope that you choose the side of free enterprise. I hope that you stand up for those things because they are what make it possible for you to go after your dreams. I believe in entrepreneurship and the majesty of an entrepreneur's dreams. I believe that every entrepreneur should stand up and be counted. Every single entrepreneur should stand up and say, I want freedom, believe in freedom, and I will not stay silent. Because Edmund Burke, the great Irish and English philosopher, said the only condition necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to stand by and do nothing. And I'd say good women too. Are you going to stand by or do nothing, or are you going to stand up in favor of freedom? Are you going to say, no, you cannot jail your political opponents. No, you cannot label things you don't like as misinformation and say they can't be said? Are you going to say that we should allow people to speak? Because we need to allow opinions we disagree with to be out there. And I want to tell you another story. Growing up, my best friend was gay. And when he came out to me, this man was afraid because he thought, being from the Middle East, that I would not tolerate that. And I said, no, man, I love you like a brother. You're gay, I'm straight, it's all good, we both know it. And I have always respected and believed in live and let live. And yet today, it appears that that's not what the powers that be want. They want to shove a particular ideology, a particular point of view down our throats and down the throats of little kids under the age of 10. I don't think kids should know about any kind of sex. Any kind of sex. Never mind confusing them about gay and straight and transgender. They're not ready for that. And we should not be shoving that down their throats. That's my opinion. And I believe that we need to live in a time where we can stand up and say this and speak out this way and make sure that our voices are heard. Now, you may agree with me, you may disagree with me about this, but I hope that you agree with me that we cannot allow our society to devolve into a tin pot dictatorship where we allow a president to go and jail his primary opponent in the upcoming election. If you want the right to build a business, the type of business you want to build, the type of business you choose, without being told how to do it or when to do it, you need to stand up and be counted now and stand up for freedom. There is no more standing on the sidelines. And I hope that this episode has made you think and that this episode has pushed you forward. God bless you. Bye-bye.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.